Hey y'all, welcome or welcome back to Babeinlibrary. It's your girl Lisa, and I am prepping and getting ready for a Black Romance Book Festival. It starts tomorrow. As I am getting ready, I am doing a little bit of packing, so I wanted to share some of my essentials that I am packing today. Also, to let you know what I am reading while I am on the plane and prepping to get ready. So, right now, I am starting the Delgado family series, and this is by Jaquel J. The first book in the series is Capone. This is a trilogy, and then it moves on into the other brother, Capadonna, and then from there it continues on. I feel like I am the last person to read this series, and I did not want to step foot in the convention center without having read it because I will experience serious FOMO. Like, I am in the room, but I am not of the people. So I have to read this series before touching down into Atlanta. There is an audiobook that is on Libby, and so I'm reading that in tandem with the book. And let me tell you, chapter 1 starts off hitting the ground running. Jaquel J knows how to captivate an audience. It does start off with a traumatic experience that our female main character experiences while she is young, and you do get to live through that harrowing situation where she loses her parents. It is an unfortunate but realistic situation where someone either just snaps and her father takes out her mother and leaves them parentless. And the entire time, she had just put her little brother to sleep. And so her little brother didn't experience the trauma or did not get to see what happened. But our female main character, Erin, did. Now she is at the police station and she's called her auntie, and we're going to see if she's going to be able to go with her aunt. But now she's going to have to navigate the world without both of her parents, and I'm not sure how that is going to frame and mold our character and what that interaction with our male main character Capone looks like. But I am very interested to continue reading, so that is what I'll be listening to today. And if I finish it, I might just pick up book 2 because, again, everybody but me has read it and I don't want to be left out. So that is what I'm reading currently as I pack. Couple of things that I am packing. If I need to have a physical book, I will be reading Kennedy Ryan's Can't Get Enough. This is the final in this particular series. I don't remember what the series is called, but this stars Hendrix, which is our female main character, and quite honestly, my favorite character thus far. I have been waiting to get the audiobook from my library, but I don't have time to wait because, again, I don't want to have FOMO, and I think everybody will have read this by the time we touch down. So this is what I will be reading on the plane. I am bringing a tote bag and my rolling cart, so your girl has things on deck to pack in the books. I do have a portable charger, which is very important. I'm going to be filming content. I'm going to be engaging with other content creators, making sure that I'm sharing social media. So I definitely have to have a power pack. I will also be bringing my microphone. This one only has one, so I wanted to get a dual one to make sure that I have that packed and ready to go for when I'm talking to authors and engaging in content. I have a portable fan because your girl is going to be hot running up and down trying to find my favorite author. So I have one that goes around my neck. That way my hands can be free. And then I am packing all of my books in bubble wrap. So some of those packages I get books in, I want to make sure I stuff all of them in to these packages so that TSA does not damage my packages. So those are just some of my essentials that I am packing for this trip. I will continue packing, checking in with you as I read Capone, and I will hopefully see you all at the Black Romance Book Festival. Y'all, I have landed in Atlanta. I have checked into the hotel. They have given me gin. I have not gone down to registration yet. That is what I will be doing here momentarily. I just wanted to give you guys like a quick little look at the room. Your girl has a king size bed. This is very, very cute. Looking at this hotel, I'm very excited. Registration is now open. It's been open for about 20 minutes. I'm gonna give it a little bit of time to chill out before I go down there. And honestly, I need to get some things to eat while I am partaking in gin, which your girl is not a gin drinker. So we're gonna see what I can do to get this down. But I wanted to let you know, while I was on the plane, I listened to Capone, but I also read Kennedy Ryan's Can't Get Enough. So I started with Can't Get Enough, and baby, Kennedy knows how to pull the emotions out of me. I didn't even make it past the author's note before I was like emotionally attached. And then I got into the prologue and she doubled down and I said, girl, I can't keep crying out in public. So I tried to hold it together. I made it probably about 6 or 7 chapters in before I was like, woo, this is emotionally heavy. I'm going to hold off. I need to re-up and get my thug life back and go into Capone. But thinking about Can't Get Enough, this is Hendrix, again, my favorite female character out of the 3 in the Skyland series. I already know that I'm going to love this. I know I have the feeling and vibes before even picking up the book that this will be a 5-star. But as I start to read it, it really does resonate that it's going to be top notch for me. It is heavy. So if you are dealing with caring for aging parents, and I can kind of resonate with this, not necessarily the Alzheimer's and dementia representation, but dealing with aging parents and you being the one to have to kind of prepare yourself for what's to come, I can resonate with that. Hendrix, again, is very unique in her storyline because her mother is been diagnosed with Alzheimer's and it is progressing. It was really triggered by her mother's best friend passing away, and she is starting to rapidly decline. Now, in this, Hendrix's aunt has decided to step in from the interim in order for Hendrix to prepare as she transitioned to come to bring her mother to Atlanta. Now, Hendrix is flourishing, right? She is 40, she is fit, and she is fine. She is a manager for a rising supermodel, and so she is just hitting her stride, and now she is having to grapple with all the ways in which her life is going to change because she knows that her mother isn't ready to leave their small town, but her mother also doesn't want to bring Hendrix back. And so Hendrix is like, let me stack my bread, let me stack my paper, but also let me do what I can to help my aunt because she's doing a really big favor for me. What got me and where I started to tear up was when I knew I needed to close the book because her aunt called her mother because she was having an episode and she's like, hey, can you do that thing? And I'm like, okay, well, what's that thing? Baby, she had to sing to her mother. I almost lost it on the plane. I would have been wailing and uncontrollable. So at that point, I was like, I need to take a pause. We have met Maverick at this point, and let me see, the man knows the way to my heart. I told y'all right now, I am drinking gin, but I am a whiskey girl. Like, whiskey and me, we are kin. And his go-to drink is Maker's Mark. And what do you know? My go-to drink is Maker's Mark. So me and him, I can already tell he's going to be boyfriend for 2025. The man has money, he has means, but he also knows what he wants out of life and what he doesn't. Now, when we meet him, Hendrix actually believes that he's in a relationship. So she's like, oh, I can't cross this line. You are in a relationship and have been in one for 3 years with someone I'm trying to do money moves and make business connections with. So actually, I don't need to, engage with you in any way. But she meets him not knowing who he is. And they have like this flirting connection and this, undeniable chemistry. When she realizes, oh, you're taken, let me go ahead and roll out. Maverick is captivated by her, and of course, because Hendrix has a great personality. Now, what wound up happening here is he actually is no longer in a relationship, and he's been broken up with his former significant other for a month. They're just having this last shindig, and they're gonna, go their separate ways. But she doesn't know that. And Maverick is like, actually, I want to get to know you more. Like, I want to be wherever you are and be able to make you feel better. How can I do this without showing any disrespect to my ex? And that's where I was like, yeah, this is enticing. However, baby girl, I can't cry on the plane. Wait till I get to the hotel room. Maybe I can cry in peace here. So I decided to switch back over to Capone. Capone, baby. Yeah, the man said, keep playing. You're actually my wife. And if you let another man touch you, he's going in the dirt. So if you want to have a body on your hands, play with me. And she was like, actually, you played me. Now, what she doesn't know is Capone is very, very, to himself. He actually is going through some things in his own personal life where he has a medical condition. I'm not going to share what that is. I think you all need to experience that and read it on page. But he has to stay in his home for a few days, and where she thought that they were going to go on a date, he couldn't pick up the phone and he couldn't call her. And so she's like, okay, well, we're moving on. My cousin asked me to go out with a man, and we did, and I'm out in the club, having a good time, and who shows up? Capone. And he's like, what you want your obituary to say? Baby, the way she hightailed it up to go to the bathroom so fast, I thought her heels were on fire. I'm very, very interested to see how it all goes out. Capri is like, she knows that Aaron and Nehemiah have had a past, but she's like, okay, well, actually, you finna be my sister-in-law. All of that is in the past. Let's be cool. But now that Aaron knows that Capone actually has a child and he still has a best friend relationship with his ex, she's like, oh, I may be in too deep. I really need to back out and go still be with my family and support my brother. I can't be getting sidetracked. So I'm really in the thick of it there. It is 3 parts, so I have a feeling that Jackwell is going to make me rush into part 2. I did download it, but let me go downstairs. Let me get set up with registration, and I'll come back and show you my goodie bag. Now, as you can see, the goodie bag was filled to the brim with swag. I really liked the vibrant color that they chose by having it a pink bag. As far as the registration process, it was pretty easy and painless. I went up to the table. They were alphabetized via your last name. So me being at the W's, I knew I was going to be the final table. I went in, the attendant was very nice. She asked for my ID, checked the system, and then gave me my lanyard and told me I could fill it out with my preferred name and my social media handle before sending me to go pick up my bag, my swag bag. So that process was very easy. No one was in line when I got there. So giving it a little bit of time after it first launched was probably the smartest idea that I had all weekend. The one critique that I would say is I wish that the attendant that had the bag told me to make sure that I picked up my t-shirt, because they were all located at different areas. I could have missed that opportunity if I didn't see people going to grab their t-shirts. But other than that, the registration process was smooth. It was seamless. And again, I think all of the attendants were very nice. They were just getting started with the process. So again, I can understand where things may have had a little bit of a gap in between. But let's go ahead and move into the signing lines and the panel lines. I'll show you a video clip of that, and then we'll talk about the app and how I utilize that to navigate through the space of me making this the best event that I could by strategizing my particular plan.
someone up there said this is specific.
I know, right? Let's go, ladies. Excuse me.
Now, I can say that the Black Romance Festival has changed the game with this app. This is very customizable and user-friendly. It allows you to see on the menu side that there's everything from your conference program, your schedule, participants that'll be there, restaurants that are nearby, and some floor plans so that you can get a layout and landscape of what you want to attend. So we'll start off with going to my schedule. Now, again, it's very customizable. You check the things that you want to attend, leave the things that you don't want to, and it's broken down by day and time frame. So it has a really easy, identifiable way for you to know where exactly you're supposed to be, and they give you notifications. Then if you go to the conference program section, it allows you to see conference schedules, it allows you to see book signing times and seating charts. So we'll take a look at book signing times. Again, because the book signings are going at the exact same time as the conference schedule or panels, you want to be able to see who's exactly going to be at the signings at what time, so you can gauge, do you need to go to a panel or do you need to go to the signing? Once you open up the particular signing, you can click on the people that's there. And for this example, I'm choosing Natasha Bishop. It shows me all the places that Natasha will be at. So if I want to go to a panel that's the same day as the signing, I can see when she's signing the next day. That's a really cool feature that I don't think that I knew was going to be available. But in addition to knowing where they're going to be, it's important to know where they will be located and where they'll be sitting at the signing. So you will see here that they have the floor plans for each one of the signing times. So I can see that Natasha is going to be on the left-hand side of the room. So if I need to line up, I need to be making my way to that side of the room. Another really nice feature is participants. It allows you to break it down by authors, narrators, moderators, content creators, vendors, and bookstores. So because this is centered for readers, if you want to meet other fellow content creators who are making waves in the space, you can click the creator space and it'll show you all of the individuals that'll be there that you may want to connect with at the 2 o'clock content creator meetup. In addition, if you want to get an idea of who's going to be in the vendor space or who's going to be at the bookstore, they have options for you to check that out as well. And again, because there are very different times for different things, you want to make sure that you are eating and staying hydrated. So they do let you know what all restaurants are at Lenox Mall or quick nearby, so that way you can grab a quick bite to eat while we have lunch as a break. And then the other really cool thing was it allows you to see who has uploaded freebies. So if you're looking for swag to exchange with other content creators, you're able to see what's all out there, and a lot of them will going to be at the content creator meet and greet. Now, although I had the app, decisions had to be made. The app can only get you so far before you have to really make some critical choices. Because this conference hosts the panels at the exact same time as the signings, you can't be at 2 places at one time. So I had to strategize, and my decision was that I was going to spend all day at the book signings and then go to panels on Sunday. My thought or rationale was that there was going to be authors like Kimberly Brown and Elle Kaysen. They were only going to be at the signing on Saturday. So if I missed them, I would not get a chance to see them again because they were not going to be signing or attending the event on Sunday. Now, the caveat is you have a lot of people with a 1-day signing pass. So meaning that the most people are going to try to get time with the authors and get their book signed on a Saturday. And that is where the bulk of the lines are. So the 2 individuals, or actually I'd say 4 individuals that had the most extensive lines, obviously Elle Kaysen, she was only there for 1 day. Jacquel J's line was wrapped around the building, so she had a line every single day. Same thing for Kennedy Ryan and A.E. Valdez. Natasha's line, Natasha Bishop and Beverly Jenkins were both manageable, but on day 1, again, I think everyone had the same strategy. Get your book signs, worried about the panels later. For me, the additional decision was made easy by the fact that most of the panels that I really wanted to attend was on Sunday. So I felt comfortable of using all day Saturday to wait in lines, get my book signed, and whoever I didn't catch day one, I would catch them on day two at the signings, and strategically find ways to go in between the book room and the panels. Now, the one feedback that I would have in relation to the signing is that, one, the room was entirely too cramped for the amount of attendees and the amount of signings that you had. I do know that they are moving locations next year, so hopefully they have a bigger signing room, and also can make sure that the authors that I mentioned, who are your big ticket items, that they're placed strategically around the room. I think they did try to make sure that they were on the outskirts, and so at one point you had Kennedy and A.E. Valdez on the right side, and you had Jacques Quell and Natasha on the left side, and in the middle you had Beverly, right? They tried to make sure that they strategically placed each one of the authors that would have a line. But if the room was a little bit bigger, I think it would make more time for adjustment and accommodations. I will say that everyone's very gracious. We understood that we were all excited to see the authors. We all had book carts. So there wasn't any drama. There wasn't any concerns of running over someone's foot or someone catching an attitude. We were all just excited to be in this space, see our favorite content creators, see our favorite authors, and everyone was just really, really accommodating and really, really nice to one another. So even though we were in a tight, cramped space, I think it all worked out for the best. And I truly believe that the attendees, the assistants, everyone tried to make it so that it was a seamless process of getting your book signed, meeting your favorite authors, but also respecting that other people needed to see them as well. So I don't have any concerns. Like I said, I went to the signing on Saturday, and then I attended the panel. So the first panel that I'm going to show you is Crafting Swoony Addictive Romances. So this was a panel that had J.L. Seeger, Christina Forrest, Robbie Renee, AC Arthur, and Jasmine Guillory. So let's take a look at that panel.
Stuff everywhere, post-it notes all over post-it boards, but I think that, well, I also use a craft book called Romance and Feed, and that has been so helpful. The beginning changes the most because that's where I'm trying to figure out character motivation, and the middle also changes a lot, but just everything changes, but like having the outline lets me know that at least I'm going to get somewhere by a certain date. That's another thing, it's like if I don't get that, so I need to know that I'm going to meet these deadlines, even if the first draft is not necessarily where I want it to be. It's a suggestion of what I want the book to be. I know that I will be able to hand it in at a certain date. And I also need to know the end. Just like a general idea of how that HA is going to happen. Because if I don't know that, then I know that the story can't really stand on its own. I also use a plot pyramid. Called Free Tax Plot Pyramid, and it's like this. But if I can plot out the beginning, the inciting incident, climax, and all those plot points, if I can figure those out, even if they change, then I know I've got a story on my hands. If I don't, then I don't bother to tell my editor.
I think that it is hard to stay creative in times where the world is crazy, and I think that sometimes you just have to accept that you're not going to be creative in that moment. That's okay. And when I have moments like that, after the election, I go, the girl was depressed, okay? And I laid on the couch for like a week straight, and I was just like, what is this like? How do I create in a time where I know that this administration is literally actively working to make it so that we can't do what we do anymore, or if we do it, we can go to jail. Every single one of us in here could go to jail. That's crazy. And that really killed my creativity for a long time. But then I said, okay, I will go there, but I still get creative today. Right? So you have to give yourself the time and the space and the energy. Realize nobody can do everything 100% of the time. So you can't be creative 100% of the time. And when creating. So, the rest, and then also contributing, it does help. It helps.
That first panel really did ease me in. For anyone that was worried about what an author panel would sound like or how they would feel, that was a really good one to get introduced to. It was crafted for people who aspire to be authors. So it talked a lot about the writing process. It talks about engaging your readers and pacing. However, the next panel that I went to, hands down, had to be my favorite panel of all. One, because the moderator was my girl Mika. She absolutely killed it. But it also is the panelists and just the vibe in the room. That panel was going to be the crafting gritty pages, turning urban romance. Let me tell you, we had a time. The vibes were just right. We were in there laughing. We were engaging. We were having a good time. So this panel had Charity Shanae. It had Brianne Danae, T. Lynn, Jacquel J, and M. Monique. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that panel had for us.
The question is, what's the hardest part about writing characters who live in survival mode and still fall in love?
Okay. Well, since I have y'all over here, it's y'all. Every time there's a character struggling, I'm like, oh my God, why don't she just let him love you? I've been struggling, like it's hard. But yeah, y'all, so being open-minded to the women characters, the FMC.
Yes.
But yeah, that's all I have to say.
Your characters would survive a gang takeover if they're in their neighborhood. If your main character got caught up in a heist, who would be their first getaway driver? Who else? Okay, which character would be the last one standing in a warehouse shootout? If their stash got stolen, which of your characters would get it back, no matter the cost? Sin, definitely, yes, Sin is definitely going to get it back. And it's going to be a lot of money. Who in your story would run a block better than any hustler?
What do you mean?
I'll say my book that's underrated will be Love Seat Cover, and she's an FBI agent, and she's dating her mark. I think that was underrated. And to say where to start, I don't know, because my thing is I like to have emotion. So I would say 180 because the FMC is really like me a lot. So I think with that character, that's like, yeah, you don't like me, and she's a secret, whatever. Because that's what she wanted to do.
So underrated, I think all my work is done. But out here for the good, so let's see, let me take it back a little bit. Speeches is my first series, and if you haven't, I know a lot of my new readers just got into, keep it to myself and try to let us know. But yes, I will go back and read speeches, see where I evolved from. That's my first 3 books. Don't judge the writing, y'all. I did a lot, okay? And then whatever, the book I will start with, probably try to do the snow and summertime shootout or Rome Club unique projects. And
for me, underrated, I'll probably go with Where the Love Finds You. I think that was one of my favorite books in my catalog. I think it was like such a mental mind. Dark, I would always recommend starting only to
Woo!
JB.
underrated. I'm gonna go. I don't have many staples in the series or anything, so I'm gonna go Brooklyn.
Yes.
I think that one is underrated. Hills. Series is near to my heart. I wrote it during a dark time, so it's really special to me. I would start
Underrated, and I really want to say Still Waters. My favorite show is my shot series. And that was a basketball romance, a sports romance. That was really good. And I would tell people to start with Uncovering.
Now, as you all may or may not know, I love a friends to lovers trope. So when I saw that there was going to be a panel that had friends to lover, you know I had to check it out. So this is the Crafting Unforgettable Friends to Lover Romances. Some of my favorite people that spoke there would be Drea Anderson, Bella J. You also had Taj McCoy. So this was really about crafting that pining, that unrequited love, talking about what it was like to elevate someone's friendship to a relationship with more and being able to show that on page. So this is all for my friends to lovers girlies. Please check out what we talked about in this panel.
For me, friends to lovers, it's kind of long-winded, but I have always I grew up in a really religious house, right? Red phone to God religious. And so the idea of going out, meeting a stranger, having sex was not for me. But the idea of friends to lovers, this is someone you know, you trust, and yes. And so I really love that. And so it's one of my favorite tropes as well.
Feelings, we don't understand. I'm watching you, and now the time's over. Or like, oh, you're serious. This might stick, so let me jump in here and like break this up. I'm just gonna be real. I like the messiness that
I love like the unrequited love angle because I do think it's realistic, because if you don't have the confidence or you don't want to go there, like you know this person knows you, and you're like, is it worth it? And if you're seeing that people are breaking up, you know, all around you, like why risk it? So I love to think about, okay, what is gonna make them risk it all? And so that's what I focus on, yeah.
Now, the last but certainly not least panel that I attended was going to be Turning Up the Heat in Romances. That panel is the one that I was looking forward to because you know I love spice. You know I want to be in the room where we're talking about the open door scenes on a page. So this panel had Bree Sade, it had Ray Lease, it had Bella J, it had A Blossom and D Rose. This was a really good mixture because you have an author that writes slow burn, but you have an author that writes an erotica. So I really liked that the team for the Black Romance Festival diversified who was on this panel, and not to give everyone that hate the same writing style or the same audiences, because there was a mix of variety of adult versus new adult. You had some that was transitioning into adult romance or erotica. So I really liked that this panel was very diversified. And the panelist was a little bit coy in terms of saying what their process was, because again, you may have an author that doesn't like to listen to her fight scenes, but she writes them immaculately. So let's go ahead and jump into this panel and see what we discussed.
It was just reading like Eric Jerome Dickey novels and just going back in, and then I got the spark because we had a mall back home, and when I grew up I was poor, I was broke, you know. So I just went into the bookstores and read the books. I would stay in a bookstore for like an hour and a half each day and read as much of the book as I could, put a little fold on a page, and be mad when I came back the next day and my page was unfolded. And I'm like, okay, but that's really how I got my start. I just fell in love with it, and then it wasn't enough to just read it. When I got home, I had to write it. I started out just kind of rewriting what I read almost exactly, and then starting to put a little bit of my own into it. And as I just continued to go, I was able to develop my own stories with my own people.
I don't understand what I'm getting Mike. I'm a virgin. That's very interesting. But no, for me, it's very interesting. I don't even like to read my sex scenes back. I don't like to read them. You be quiet. You act like you're a saint over here. But yeah, I don't like to read them back. It's very cringy to read my own sex scenes. It's just like, who wrote that? Like, I had to listen to the sex scenes for 1201 with the narrators, and it was just like, what are they doing? Who wrote that? But for me, if it's like positions, I do a lot of research. There was this one thing in my book called Mistletoe Blues, and for some reason I just had to have something happen in the tub, but like she was over the tub, so I had to like just see how it feels to be over the tub. Or like in my current book that I'm working on, it's coming out with cookies on top. She's on the stove, but I had to be like, can you really be all the way back on the stove? But usually with the wall and all that stuff, it's like you gotta make it work. So I think I do a lot of research to see how it's gonna work. Because I want people to be like,
my characters inside and out to know what they would like with foreplay. So if I'm like in For the Night with Venus and Anthony, they hate each other at first. So the build up for them and the foreplay, it was fun to write because they go from like absolutely like wanting to wring each other's necks to now they're on this date that wasn't supposed to be. And he has a foot fetish in the book, and so he likes her feet a lot. And it starts with small things like taking her shoes off for her. And then they end up like at a pool scene, and all of a sudden her toes are in his mouth. So it's just you have to know your characters inside and out.
I like that. I would add that with 1201, it's delusional enemies to lovers. She really does hate that man at that point. But I do a lot of banter. I really love like the banter to build the chemistry. But it really is knowing your characters and like what will really like get them to that point and make them feel like they're falling. And also in 1201, like she just wanted to kiss so bad, and he just kept, not kissing her. So that was really funny to me. But I think little things like that was all building up to that moment, and it's just really knowing your characters, what can really do well for the book.
I would recommend you start with Priest. He's the first one, and then from there you can go from there.
I would recommend you start at the very beginning, so saving sunflower, and then just work your way through.
I'm gonna recommend, since y'all all like spice, I'm gonna recommend Cookie Dough. So that's pretty spicy and it's a really quick read.
I'm gonna recommend my new release, Unexpected Path.
Yes.
I'm going to recommend, since we're talking about passion and build up and intimacy, The Other Side of Fame.
Yes. all in all, I really do plan on continuing to support the Black Romance Book Festival. I will be in the Hunger Games with everyone else, trying to get tickets for next year. I believe the tickets go on sale in August, so I will cross my fingers and hope that I am able to get an all-access pass. I really did enjoy being in this space. It is created for us, where, again, the melanated are celebrated. I want to thank the entire staff. I want to thank Lauren Lacey. I want to thank the people that made this event special. But before I get out of here, I do need to give you all my final thoughts on the 2 books that I read. Now, I can tell you with complete certainty, I am happy that I did not finish Capone or Can't Get Enough before the end of this event, because I would have been waiting in line with everybody else. These 2 books have gripped me so fierce that I fear my edges may be pulled out the side of my head. Jaquel J has me enraptured with the Delgado series. I have, since this conference, I have finished book 1 and book 2 of Capone, and I have started today Capone 3. That is how engaged I am. I am locked in with Aaron and with Capone, with Capri and Naheem. I am fully invested, and I actually can't wait to see what Capadonna has. I thought the first book was really solid. It ended off on a tremendous cliffhanger, as everyone said, but book 2 is ultimately where it's at. Like, she is cooking with the gas on high in this series, and I'm about to run through it like the Tomb Raider. You all can see when we attended that panel that the room was really there for her. Like, when they talked about crafting gritty pages, everyone had something to say about this series, which I am glad that I continue to read. I really appreciate what Jaquel is setting up. She is getting us engaged with all of the people in the Delgado family. I can't wait to get into 10,000 Hours with a Menace. Y'all, if y'all haven't done so already, please pick up Jaquel J's work, because it is reading like a soap opera, and I am tuned in every episode, every day, locked in Monday through Friday, including the weekends. But the real star of this particular reading experience has got to be Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. I can't tell you how glad I am that I didn't finish this before the end of the event, because I would have been standing in line to this day. This book right here is got to be my favorite book that I have read this year, and I don't think that anything is going to unseat it. This, honestly, is my Roman Empire. Kennedy Ryan, bless her pen, bless her family, bless her brain, her heart, and her soul. She poured everything into this book, and I hope I receive it with open arms. Hendrix is a character that I knew would be my favorite character coming in. She just fit that rich auntie vibe, and it is reinforced in this book. This is truly for the readers that want to see themselves reflected, for someone who does not seek to have children, but know that they have a way of giving back to the world by reinforcing the children that are in their lives, whether it be their nieces and nephews, whether it be their godchildren, whether it be the community. Hendrix is showing that everyone's happily ever after doesn't have to look the same, but we are deserving of what we desire the most in our heart's affection. It is so breathtakingly beautiful. I cried multiple times in this book, because not only does it center a lot of the things that I have been told as an adult of why am I a certain age without a family, and how I don't want to necessarily be alone. And Hendrix shows that community and family and engagement looks different for every single person. I love a lot of the social commentary as it talks about the relevancy of tearing down the things that were built for minorities to be able to have an equal footing, and how there are a lot of forces at play that are hidden behind LLCs or hidden behind, philanthropic opportunities that really actually could do us damage. So I love that one thing Kennedy is going to do is she's going to give you a spicy book. She is going to give you witty banter, but she is also going to give you impactful social commentary. She is an advocate for learning and making her books meaningful. Y'all, this one, I will get more into it probably as I get closer to the end of the year, because I just love this book so much that it would take an entire dedicated reading vlog for me to discuss some of the things. One, because my man Maverick Bell, like I said at the beginning of this video, he loves whiskey. I love whiskey. And the things that he did with that $200 bottle of whiskey, Macallan, baby, let me find out that there's somebody that wants to do that. I volunteer as tribute. So all in all, what a fantastic reading experience, a fantastic bookish event experience. And all around, I'm just so fulfilled. My heart is still back in Atlanta enjoying this experience. So I will tell you, do me a favor, leave me a whiskey emoji, which you're going to see here on the screen. Leave me a whiskey emoji, and or tell me what you've heard about Black Romance Book Festival. Tell me some of the commentary that you've heard on the internet, what your thoughts are, and if you will be attending next year. And I'll talk to y'all next time. Bye.